You pause. Get started. Carol, it looks like you and I are the only early birds today, and that is okay with me. So, as we stretch out long on our mat this morning, I'm just going to take 1 second to introduce myself. My name is Bryn Eboric. I am a spin instructor at the YMCA. I've been filling in doing some virtual yoga. Sometimes I teach yoga at the YMCA. Just on the behalf of the YMCA, we are so grateful that you guys have all chosen to participate in, whether you're watching the videos live or going into the library and choosing whichever videos, whichever workouts. We have so many to choose from now. The library has really come a long way in the last month. So we're so grateful that you are taking advantage of the virtual membership. It makes us at the YMCA feel like we are still connected to you guys, even though there's a little bit of distance between us, and we're feeling it. I'm sure you guys are feeling it, but this is just a way for us to stay connected with you guys, and it just means so much to us that you guys have chosen to participate in these workouts, these home videos with us. So thank you so much. We are so grateful for each and every one of you. With that being said, we're going to begin our sunrise yoga class today. So 2 things. If you don't have a bolster, if I could just have you grab a blanket and roll it up, that's gonna serve the purpose today as the bolster, just to have something to slide under your knees when we're in Shavasana. And also, if you could situate yourself somewhere that there's only one point in this class where you're going to need some support, I think, and that would be the wall. So you don't have to be butted up against the wall, but just to have access, a space in the wall that you'll be able to lean up against at one point during this practice today for a balancing pose, it's really, really going to help out as far as keeping the pose safe and getting into the asana or pose comfortably. So grab that blanket that you have rolled up. I'm using just a regular yoga blanket, and we're just going to stretch out long. So starting off in what's called Shavasana, situating that blanket just underneath your knees to create support, so that as you lay back into Shavasana, it takes the pressure off the low back. So you can feel the low back begin to soften as you lay back in Shavasana. Shavasana is the relaxation pose. I am going to leave you guys in Shavasana as I sit up and talk. I find it difficult to lay down and talk because it's relaxing and it's 6 o'clock in the morning. So stretching out long on your mat and taking your awareness now to the feet. Just settling your awareness in on your feet and allowing yourself to let go of any tension that you're holding in the feet. Letting your toes fall away from one another. Excuse me. Relaxing through the ankles. Relaxing through the knees. Sending your awareness to the knees and the hips. Sometimes as we lay, especially on our backs, we tend to keep our legs semi-rigid, and we're not even really fully aware of it. So just by letting your awareness kind of travel down to these areas, the hips, the knees, the ankles, and just letting everything begin to let go of any tension that you may be holding, that you may be unaware of. And now continuing to travel up the body into the navel center, so the belly. Making an effort to relax the belly. We all get so used to sucking it in all the time, holding our core in. Making an effort during this Shavasana and during the majority of this practice to relax the abdominal muscles, not hold it in, let go of any tension in the low back or the abdomen. Taking your awareness now to the heart center or the chest. Making an effort to roll the shoulders back and down. And as you splay your arms wide in Shavasana, allowing your palms to face up, will allow your shoulder blades in the back body to come together just a little bit, creating space across the chest. And also in this pose, even though it feels like you're relaxing, it has some activity to it because we spend all day like this, or like this, or like this, you know, watching TV, being on our phone, being on the computer. So allowing your shoulder blades, to come back a little bit closer together opens up that chest that we keep closed off to the world all day long. And now tucking your chin just slightly, just a little bit towards your chest so that you feel that curve in the back of your neck lay flat. Trying to create a long, flat spine from your tailbone all the way up into where the spine meets in the back of the head, and then all the way up through the top of the head. All of that laying flat on the mat. Relaxing your forehead. Taking your awareness now to your forehead and the eyebrows and the muscles around the eyes. Letting your eyes close if that's comfortable for you. And if you feel like you're fighting it, if you feel like your eyes keep fluttering open, then just soften your gaze. You know, let your eyes close to the point where it's comfortable, taking in as little light as possible. And then taking your awareness to your jaw, letting your jaw hang heavy, making an effort to create space between your lower teeth and your upper teeth, taking your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. We carry so much tension in the face, in the jaw, and the eyebrows. And now just taking a minute to notice your breath, not making any changes or adjustments. Just taking a moment to notice your natural rhythm of inhale and exhale. Noticing if your natural rhythm is short and shallow. Noticing if it stops at the chest. Noticing if your natural rhythm is long and smooth. Noticing if it comes all the way down into the belly. Just noticing. In yoga, they call this the observer mode of self. So removing yourself from the physical body and just noticing what the physical body is doing. Without judgment, without change, without intention, just noticing. And now that you notice, now that you see your natural rhythm, let's add just a little bit of intention to that breath. Adding just a little bit of length to the inhale, slowing down the inhale, and drawing that inhale all the way down into the belly. Feeling the abdominal cavity rise and expand with every inhale. Feeling that navel center fall with every exhale. We're not going to add volume to the breath. So we're not drawing in or overextending the lungs or the abdomen with extra breath. We're working with the same amount of breath. We're just slowing it down. So adding length to the inhale. And adding length to the exhale. Slowing down the breath, slowing down the mind. And now just allowing your breath to return to its normal pattern. Letting go of the intention, letting go of the length. Breathing as you normally would as we start to transition into the active part of our morning yoga. So turning your palms to face down, rotating your hands so that your palms are now facing down on the floor, and just beginning to tap your fingers. Tapping your fingers on the floor, waking up the nerve endings in your fingers. Even beginning to tap your feet. So tapping your heels on the floor, waking up the body. If you have that blanket rolled up underneath your knees, you can just push it off to the side. I do not think that we will need it until the end of class. So just getting it out of your way for now and stretching out long, feeling every bit of the back body resting on the mat, on the floor. And on your next exhale, so drawing in a deep inhale, exhale, drawing the knees in towards the chest and rocking back and forth. I like to let the knees kind of go wide, opening up the hips. And if I could make a suggestion, I would try this at home because we are going to be doing a lot of hip openers today. So loosening up these hips now is going to make the practice a lot easier. On your next inhale, sending both legs up towards the ceiling. So looking up at your feet, it's going to look like you're standing on the ceiling because your feet are flat. So it keeps the legs active. Your kneecaps are engaged, your thighs are engaged, your feet are active. Hands are going to come down to the side. They can either come down to the side here, palms facing down next to the hips, or you can send them out wide, whatever is most comfortable for you. I choose to have my arms down to the side for this. Taking a few breaths here. And on your next exhale, we're going to drop the right leg to the mat. Inhale, pulling that right leg back up. Exhale, left leg traveling down towards the mat. Inhale, back up. Switching back to the right. Exhale. Inhale, pulling it up. Exhale, left leg lowers to the mat. Inhale, back up. One more time on each side. Right leg. Exhale, left leg. Good. Dropping those knees towards your chest, and one more time, just rolling it out, releasing any tension. Now we're going to reach through our knees so that our first two fingers on each hand, so first finger and middle finger, are going to hook over our toes. Releasing your head back to the mat and sending your legs out wide for happy baby. So if it's comfortable for you to straighten your legs all the way, if you're super flexible, you can. Or you can keep, I prefer to keep them bent and pull my knees in closer to the earth, creating more of an opening through the hips. instead of adding extra strain to the hamstrings. Rocking side to side if that suits you today. On your next exhale, you can release, letting your feet travel back to the mat, stretching out long. And on your next inhale, sending your arms up overhead. So your hands are going to be resting on the floor above your head and stretching out long. Toes going in one direction, fingertips going in the other. And on the exhale, release. Releasing all tension. Inhale. Stretching long, waking up every part of that body. Exhale. Release. Taking just a moment here to feel the heaviness of your body. Experiencing so much heaviness here. And when you're ready, we're just going to roll to one side and just take a breath. Number 2. So when you're ready, press your hands into the mat using both hands to protect your low back. And we are going to come all the way up to standing. So we are going to really get started here. So I'm going to turn my mat, kind of this way so that you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. If at any point it is not for you today, if at any point any of the poses tend to be uncomfortable or challenging, if I choose to hold them for 3 to 5 breaths and you need to come out of them, then you need to honor your body. You need to honor your body where it is today in this moment. So with that being said, excuse me, I'm going to have you come to the end of your mat. Your feet are just going to be, you can have them all the way together if you want. I feel like that narrows my stance, so it doesn't give me a solid foundation. So I tend to take my feet just a few inches apart, not quite shoulder width, but just a few inches apart. And I'm going to rock forward and back just to get my weight evenly distributed on my feet. I'm going to roll my shoulders back and down. I'm going to send my fingertips down long. So when I'm reaching down towards my toes, it is pulling my shoulders down and away from my ears, which is very different from my natural stance, because everybody kind of tends to stand like this, myself included. So driving my fingertips down towards the earth is kind of a gentle reminder. That was probably a little too aggressive, right? This face makes it look like I'm working really hard, and I'm not. So driving my fingertips down my side body is a gentle reminder to pull my shoulders off of my ears, making my neck long and driving up through the crown of my head. So that will force my chin to drop just a little bit towards my chest, and I can feel my spine straighten out. Taking just a moment here before we get started to draw that breath into the belly. So noticing how different it is once you're standing up. Your tendency, at least mine, is to automatically suck it in, right? Which draws the breath up. So it's only up here, only in my chest. If I'm sucking in my belly, I cannot push that breath down past the diaphragm because everything is tight, right? So making an effort to soften the belly. Drawing the breath down past the chest, past the ribs, all the way down here into the base of the belly, the pelvic floor. Look, you can see as I inhale, the breath is filling all the way down here. Exhale, completely empty. So noticing how different that breath feels. Okay, on your next inhale, drawing those arms up overhead, for mountain 2. Taking a breath here. Checking in with your shoulders. Did your shoulders come up around your ears? Rolling the shoulders down, keeping the neck long. Exhale, turning your hands, palms to face out, forward fold. So hinging from the hips, dropping the hips back, releasing any tension from the low back, feeling the hamstrings waking up, letting your arms hang heavy, letting your head hang heavy. Taking your palms to your shins, inhale, halfway rise. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we're going to bend our knees and step back with the left foot. And we're going to find ourselves in a low lunge. So allowing your hips to drop, sink into this just a little bit. Your chest should be in line with your right knee. We're going to take our left hand and plant it just inside the right foot. Take a breath here. And on the exhale, we're going to lift the right arm up towards the heavens and twist to look up at our right hand. Taking a few breaths here. Exhale, bringing that right arm back to the mat. Inhale, lifting up to warrior 1. So keeping this back leg straight out behind you. If this becomes too challenging, you can drop that back leg so that you're resting on your knee. Bringing your arms either to the heart center or up overhead or somewhere in the middle, like a goalpost. Taking just a few breaths here. Exhale, forward fold, bringing your hands back down to the mat, taking the right hand, coming inside the right foot to join the left hand, and just beginning to walk your hands out just a little bit. Over here, this is called dragons, right? So you're gonna sink down just a little bit deeper, letting your hips sink down, creating a little bit more opening. After that exhale, you're gonna walk your hands back in, taking the right hand to the outside of that right foot, sending that right foot back into a plank. Taking a breath here. On your next inhale, sending those hips up for down dog. Allowing your heels to relax towards the mat, trying to stretch your heels down. Inhale, three-legged dog, sending that right leg up into the air, bending at the knee and rolling those hips open. Inhale, sending that leg back up into the air. Exhale, drawing that foot up between the hands, returning to that low lunge. Taking a breath here. Inhale, stepping forward, returning to that forward fold. Hanging heavy. Inhale, hands to the shins, halfway rise. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bending at the knees, sending your arms out to the side, reaching all the way up. Hands to heart center on the exhale. Let's shake out any tension that may have caused through the hips and the legs. And we're going to do it all over again, this time stepping back with the right foot. So finding your way back to mountain 1. Rolling the shoulders back and down, creating space across the chest. Drawing the breath deep into the belly. Inhale, arms coming up overhead, mountain 2. Palms facing out, exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hips. Palms to the shins. Inhale, halfway rise. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stepping back, right foot. Dropping down into that low lunge, taking a breath here. Keeping that right hand planted on the inside of the left foot, sending the left arm up, following it with your gaze, breathing into that twist. Exhale, returning that left hand to the mat. Taking a breath here, sinking into that low lunge. Taking the left hand to the inside of the left foot and walking your hands out just a few inches or a foot away from your left foot, and then allowing yourself to sink deeper into that stretch. Feeling the opening in the back of the left thigh and in the front of the right one. Walking your hands slowly back in. Left hand returning to the outside of the left foot. Taking a breath here. Exhale into plank. Inhale, down dog. Allowing your heels to meet the mat if that's comfortable. You can even put a slight bend in your knee if it's too uncomfortable on the hamstrings. This time, sending the left leg straight up for three-legged dog, bending the knee and rolling the hips open so that you're feeling an opening in the front of the hip. Inhale, sending that leg back up long. Exhale, bringing that leg forward, stepping between the hands, taking a breath here. Inhale, stepping forward with the right foot and returning to that forward fold. Inhale, halfway rise. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bending at the knees, arms to the side, reaching up. Hands to heart center on the exhale. Taking a breath here. Okay, so I just have to tell you, on that second one, I literally just had to do that whole sequence pretending like I didn't have the worst cramp in my right hip. So if I pulled that off and fooled you guys, kudos to me, because I thought I was going to pass out at one point. So I am hoping that didn't happen for any of you, but if it did, completely normal. We are moving our bodies in a way that our bodies are not used to being moved. Okay, I'm going to turn this just a smidge, because this is where we're going to want to be very close to the wall. So I'm going to move this. And here, I'm going to give you a couple of choices here so that you'll decide how to make this pose the easiest for you. As we're going to go through from warrior 2 into warrior 3. So here's how I choose to do it. Warrior 3 is a balancing pose. So you will begin to tip forward. This is where you can either use your foot up against the wall, because this will help create stability for the balancing pose, or you can turn and face the wall. So bringing your arms up and out in front, and as you begin to tip forward, you can use your hands to brace yourself on the wall. Either one, you're going to get the exact same formation in the pose, so you just decide which one is more comfortable for you. So starting off, we're going to go into warrior 2. So stepping forward with your left foot, looking back at that right foot and drawing that imaginary line from your left heel to the arch of your right foot. So we want that alignment to be just right so that we're not going to hurt ourselves. We're going to turn our hips so it's facing the long edge of the mat, keeping our body as square as possible this way. Bringing our arms up on the inhale, exhale, lowering them to about shoulder height, palms facing down, sending those shoulder blades down the back body, and beginning to put a little bend in that left knee. Now, as you begin to bend that left knee, I want everybody to take your eyes down to your left knee. Checking in to make sure that left knee stays over your last two toes. So your last two piggies, right? Your pinky piggy and your ring piggy. What have you called a ring piggy? But making sure that that knee stays in perfect alignment. If your knee starts to come in, it's going to put too much pressure on the inside of your knee and you could get hurt. Rolling the shoulders back and down and checking in with this right hand. Did it come forward? Sending that back. Creating a straight line from this fingertip all the way out to this fingertip. Turning your head to look over your left fingers and breathing into that warrior two. One more breath here. On your next exhale, lowering your arms, straightening that left knee. And I'm going to heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, walk that foot, that back foot in. And I'm going to turn and get ready for warrior three. So I'm going to start with my feet together. And I'm going to make sure that I am, since I'm going to go with my foot to the wall, I'm going to make sure that I'm just the right distance away so that I'm not kicking up and bashing my heel or that I'm not keeping a bent leg. We want this back leg to be straight. So taking a full breath in mountain one, deciding where you would like your arms to start. I think it's best if we start with our arms out to the side. It almost acts like a, you know, like people walk across the wire and they have that stick, right, for the balancing. So that this is our balancing hold today. And your next exhale, beginning to tip your weight forward, sending the right leg up and back, and then sending your arms out in front. You can put a slight bend in this left knee, or you can keep that left leg straight. Taking just a few breaths here, keeping your eyes towards the floor. It'll help with your balance. One more breath. Exhale, bringing those arms down, walking it out. Great job. Does anybody else feel that, like in their low back? Hopefully it's not painful. If it's painful, then you need to adjust by adding a little bend to the knee or maybe lowering the legs a little bit. Okay, we're going to switch to the other side now. So we're going to start with that warrior two, stepping forward with the right foot, looking down at your feet, drawing that imaginary line from heel to arch. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the arms down to shoulder height. Checking in to make sure that your shoulders are not up and around your ears. Exhale, adding bend to that knee. Looking out over the right fingertips. Checking your knee. Making sure your knee stays out over the last two toes. Bringing those shoulder blades together. Focus on your breath. Exhale, releasing your arms down to your side, straightening that knee, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, walking your feet up, getting yourself positioned near a wall. And if your balance is amazing and you don't need the wall, then right, don't even worry about it. So I'm going to start in mountain two, and I'm going to check to make sure that I'm at just the right distance away from the wall. Too close. That'll do. Okay. So starting in mountain, bringing my arms up to mountain 2 and down. On the exhale, shoulder height. Beginning to tip my weight forward. Bring that left leg up to the wall. And I'm going to bring my arms straight out in front. Exhale, release. Release that leg down. We're going to walk it out. Great job. That's a lot for first thing in the morning. So we are going to find our way down to seated. However you find your way down to seated is completely fine. Oh, let's find our way into easy pose. So you decide. If you want your ankles stacked, that's fine. If you want one foot out in front of the other, also fine. Oh, we're going to find our way so that our weight is evenly distributed on our sits bones. You can even reach back and kind of pull some of the excess tissue away from the sits bones so that you can really feel grounded in your seated postures. Sitting up nice and tall, we're going to apply those exact same foundation rules of yoga to seated as we do to standing and laying down. So rolling the shoulders back and down, feeling the opening in the chest. Tucking the chin towards the chest just a little bit, pulling up through the crown of the head. We're going to take one hand to each of our knees and collectively draw in a very deep inhale all the way into the belly. Drop your jaw for an open mouth exhale. May I remind you, you are at home and nobody can see you. So you can be as loud and aggressive as you would like to be with this Darth Vader breath, but tell me you don't feel the release of the tension afterwards. So let's try it one more time. Drawing in a very deep inhale. Drop your jaw, open mouth exhale. Literally sends a message to the body to just let go. Let go of tension, let go of stress, let go of it all. So we're going to bring our feet out in front so that our knees are pointed kind of up towards the ceiling. And we're just going to start with our hands tucked behind our knees. So we're going to rock back. So we're sitting just behind the sits bones. And we're going to create kind of a hollowness here as we begin to lift our toes just a little bit off the floor, experimenting with our balance, seeing where we are today. And if this is where we are today, then this is where we'll stay. If you can bring them up a little bit higher, go for it. If you can straighten them, you can even bring your arms out to the side. We're just going to stay here for a few short breaths. One more. Exhale, taking your hands back behind your knees, dropping your feet to the floor. We're going to wrap our arms all the way around our knees. We're going to first start rocking side to side. And then you can even rock forward and back, right? So touching down on your toes and just rocking forward, rocking back. Now we're going to send our legs out long. We're going to create a wide stance here. Sitting up nice and tall. Getting situated on your sits bones. Toes are active, pointing up towards the ceiling. Drawing your breath into your belly. We're going to bend the left elbow and come down to either rest here on your left thigh, or you can come to the inside of the left thigh if you have a little bit more flexibility. As we begin to inhale, take the right arm up overhead, lowering ourselves towards the left toes. So please, please, please notice, I'm not reaching across my body. I'm coming up and over. So I'm feeling the stretch from my elbow to my shoulder, from my shoulder to my ribs, from my ribs into my hips. As my right fingertips stretch and reach towards my left toes. Breathing into that right side body. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, release. Bending the right elbow. Deciding if you're going to come down onto the thigh or if you can go a little bit further. Inhale, left arm coming up overhead. Exhale, reaching, left fingertips coming up and over the left ear, reaching towards the right toes. Feeling that opening in the whole left side body. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, release. Taking both hands to the mat right out in front of you, straightening up through the spine. And on your next exhale, just beginning to walk your fingertips out in front until you hit that point where you feel like it's going to be an uncomfortable stretch. We don't want to get to the point where it's uncomfortable. We just want a gentle opening. For some of us, that may be way up here. For some of us, you may be able to lay flat, right? I am not that person. So we're going to walk our fingertips out to the point where we just start to feel a gentle stretch. We're going to keep our nose pointed towards the floor. So we're not collapsing into this. We're keeping that length in our spine. We're breathing into that stretch. That gentle opening. You may feel it in the groin or on the inner thigh. You may feel it in the hamstrings or in the low back or even across the hips or the glutes. You may feel it in all the places. Gentle breath. On your next inhale, we're just going to begin to walk our hands back in. Now we're going to turn and look out over our right foot. One hand on the outside of the right leg, one hand on the inside. On the exhale, we're going to begin to walk our hands down that right leg until we find that gentle stretch. Keeping your nose towards your toes. Inhale, walking your hands back in. Taking a breath here. Turning the body to look out now. You guessed it, over the left foot. Sitting up nice and tall. Exhale, walking your hands down towards your left toes. Keeping your nose lifted. Feeling that gentle stretch and encouraging gentle breath into the areas that you still feel tense. Inhale, walking your hands back up towards the center. Straightening through the spine. Shaking out those legs as we begin to bring them together. Good. Now we're just going to flip over so that we are going to be on our bellies. We're coming to the end of our practice today, and we have not done any back bends or any back arches. So we're going to stretch out long on our mat. And we're just going to take a minute here in sleeping crocodile. So taking one forearm, holding it over the other forearm, and allowing your forehead to come down and rest on your forearms. This is going to create compression between your belly and the mat. So drawing the breath deep into the belly, this acts as like a detoxifier for your organs. So drawing the breath deep into the belly, increasing that compression. On your next inhale, lifting your head and sliding your hands so that they are just under the shoulders and your forehead will rest on the mat. On your next inhale, pressing up just to baby cobra. So your forehead and the part of your chest will come up off the floor on the inhale, exhale, releasing your forehead back to the mat. Inhale, pressing up to full cobra if that suits you today. If not, returning to that baby cobra. Exhale, back to the mat. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Keeping your eyes, your gaze towards the end of your mat or just off the end of your nose. Inhale, full cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, full cobra or as high as is comfortable for you and holding for 3 breaths. Exhale, release. Pressing your hands into the mat and pushing your bottom back, letting your knees go wide, bringing your toes together, and dropping back into fallen leaf. So pressing the hips back, reaching the arms forward, getting a release in the shoulders and the low back and letting your forehead find the mat. If that's uncomfortable, you can stack your fists one on top of the other and rest your forehead right on your fists. On your next inhale, pressing back up to tabletop. We're just going to go through a little bit of spine loosening before we end our practice today in a final shavasana. So we're going to do a little bit of cat-cow. So on your inhale, you're going to drop your belly towards the mat, lifting your tailbone up towards the heavens, lifting your gaze to the ceiling. Exhale, reversing that, pulling your shoulder blades apart, tucking your chin to your chest and tucking your tailbone under for cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Just go to the pace of your own breath for a few more. Finding your way back to neutral. And now we're going to kind of add the arms and the hands. So On your next inhale, you're going to take your left leg and your right arm. Inhale, stretching both out in opposite directions. Exhale, returning to the mat. Switching, left hand, right foot. Inhale, stretching in opposite directions. Exhale, back to the mat. Inhale, driving through the heel and the fingertips. Exhale, back to the mat. Inhale, stretching. Good. Settling into tabletop. We're going to try this one last thing. On your next inhale, you're going to lift your left knee off the ground so that your foot is pointing up towards the ceiling. Keeping your eyes towards the end of the mat to help maintain balance. You're going to take your right arm and reach around to grab your left foot. So you may want to stay just right here, or on your next inhale, lifting up, creating space in the front of that left knee, that left thigh, and just holding it for a breath. Exhale, release. Good. Switching over to the other side. Inhale, lifting the right knee up. Taking the left arm, reaching around, finding that right foot. Inhale, lifting up, opening from the front of that right thigh. Exhale, release. Dropping your bottom back to your heels for child's pose. So keeping your knees just a fist distance apart. Bringing your arms back and behind if that's comfortable for you, letting your forehead meet the mat. Or again, you can stack your fists one on top of the other. On your next inhale, pressing up. Stretching out long on your mat. We are going to go into our final Shavasana here for the last few minutes of our practice. So this is where I would invite you to use that blanket that we used at the beginning of class, or bolster or pillows or whatever you have at home, just underneath the knees. You might want to put socks on or add a blanket over the top of you, just so as you begin to relax into this final pose, you are as comfortable as you can possibly be. I'm actually going to turn one of these lights off, so it'll be harder to see me, but you shouldn't need to see me, because the whole point here is for you to just get as comfortable as possible. So stretching out long, using that blanket under your knees, and returning to that state of letting go. Letting your toes, again, fall away from one another. Relaxing through the knees and the hips. Relaxing the belly. Rotating the palms so they face up as you create distance between your arms and your body, laying your arms kind of out to the side. Bringing the shoulder blades just a little bit closer together, tucking the chin just slightly towards the chest. They're all such small little movements that make such a huge difference. Relaxing the jaw, separating the teeth. Releasing the tongue. Relaxing the eyebrows and the eyes. And once again, returning your awareness to the breath. Making an effort to draw the breath deep into the belly. Allowing yourself to feel that with every inhale, you're like a helium balloon, and you get so light that you're almost lifting up off the mat. And with every exhale, you're being pulled back to the earth, and the heaviness settles back in. So every inhale, you get lighter, and every exhale, you get heavier. Experiencing the contrast of the lightness and the heaviness with every inhale and every exhale. Keeping the length on the inhale, the length on the exhale. Long, even, smooth breath. Following that inhale, following that breath to any place in the body that you feel like you are still carrying tension, whether it be between the shoulder blades or in the low back, it's in the belly, or even in the mind. We carry so much tension in the mind. Sending the breath to the areas that need to be released. Visualizing your breath, untying those knots. And releasing all the tension. And now allowing your breathing to just return to normal. Letting it settle into a regular pattern. As you begin to come back to this space and this time. Making gentle movements through the fingers and the toes to wake up the body. And this is where I will leave you. It is up to you if you would like to stay in this Shavasana for the rest of this day, or if you are ready to start your day. I'm going to place my hands at heart center. And the word namaste in yoga means, in Sanskrit, means the light in me acknowledges the light in you. And during this confusing time, I would just like to show my utmost gratitude for sharing space with you now, whether you're watching this video live or you are watching it some other time. I'm so grateful to stay connected with all of you out there. The light in me truly acknowledges the light in you. Thank you so much for participating. Namaste. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you started your day off wonderful, and I hope it continues through the rest of your day.